Hi guys, Rory here from Your Golf Travel. We're back on the roof, so it's time for Out of Bounds with me. On to episode 6 now, so thanks for everyone who's been watching the videos, providing comments in the comment section, that kind of thing, interacting. I really appreciate the support. Camera all primed and ready to go. Today we're going to talk about a classic clubhouse conversation which I'm sure you've all had after a round of golf while mulling over your day's play and over a couple of beers. What is your favourite ever golf holiday that you've been on? Now, I've said it once and I will say it again, I'm very, very lucky to get the amount of travelling I get to do with work, but my favourite golf holiday, and I'm going to cheat a little bit here because it's not technically a golf holiday, I went on a family holiday to South Africa a couple of years back. I've already referenced this in a video where I talked about my favourite golf course in the world. That golf course is called Pinnacle Point. You may have seen the video on it before. If you haven't, click the link in the description where I talk about that course in depth. But enough about that, I've droned on about that before. See what I did there? I promise this is going to be the only close-up quip, I swear. I also played 5 other amazing golf courses in South Africa while I was there for a couple of weeks. I guess the next best would be the Links course at Fancourt, which is actually rated Africa's top course if I'm not mistaken. Stunning golf course designed by Gary Player. There's 2 other golf courses at that resort, and Fancourt is actually where we stayed. Unbelievably luxurious. Definitely stay there if you're ever in and around George, which is where it is, about a 45-minute flight from Cape Town. Another course we played was Ubai, designed by Ernie Els. Again, golf on the edge of the world type stuff, similar to Pinnacle Point. And finally we have Arabella, which is possibly the most picturesque course I've ever played. A little bit further inland from the likes of Pinnacle Point and Ubai, but there's a 3-hole challenge there where if you go through a certain 3 holes in level par, I can't remember exactly which ones they are, I think it might be 4, 5 and 6, I could be wrong, they give you a voucher for another free round of golf. I managed it, so you guys definitely can, and that makes it worth a crack in my book. As you all know, I absolutely love golf. I'm probably the biggest golf geek you'll ever meet, but I think the thing that makes a golf holiday in South Africa really special is actually the stuff you can experience away from the fairways. Firstly, wine and food lovers will be in absolute heaven in South Africa. My mum and my sisters went on a horse riding tour at the vineyards while myself and dad took ourselves away to play golf. And in general, the wine drinkers in my family just waxed lyrical about the local plonk for 2 whole weeks, and the beer wasn't bad either. If you like your meat, there's nowhere better on earth. I think I had steak for lunch and dinner at least every second day, which probably wasn't the best thing for my health. But the seafood is stunning if you're ever down by the coastline, and when you get towards safari reserves, a place like that, the game meat, cuts of meat that you never try anywhere else on earth. Once you tore yourself away from the restaurants, however, then you've got the adventure side of things, which is where South Africa really comes into its own. South Africa, of course, is a world famous safari destination. You cannot go to South Africa without going on a safari. We went on a 2-day safari in and around the Legend Golf and Safari Resort, where we saw most of the big 5. We got up close and personal with wildebeest, zebra, giraffes, elephants, lions, crocodiles, you name it, apart from leopards. It's the only thing I was disappointed we didn't see, but they are very elusive. It was a really amazing experience, and as I said, you cannot come to this part of the world without experiencing the local wildlife. Speaking of getting up close and personal with local wildlife, we did another little adventurous thing, which was cage diving with great white sharks. It is a pretty primal experience, and once I'd got over my initial hyperventilating when I first got into the water, I was so glad I did it. It was amazing. We only had about 7 feet of visibility. That depends on the time of year you do it, but I can assure you, when a great white shark is about 18 inches from your face, 7 feet is more than enough. Further inland, we also explored the jungle canopy, doing a bit of zip lining, which is another awesome experience. You can't do that anywhere in the world, but there's few places on earth where you'll experience the stunning landscapes we saw while we were doing it. It was also a totally hilarious experience, thanks in large part to my little sister, who was absolutely petrified. Check this out. Now, adrenaline junkies will never be short of a thing or two to do in South Africa. There's so many things on the cards. But there's also many natural, historical and cultural attractions, and while you won't get to tick everything off the list on your first trip, unless you do an absolute mega holiday, there's one thing I would recommend if you're in and around Cape Town is to take the trip out to Robben Island. Robben Island is actually where Nelson Mandela spent a huge chunk of the time he spent behind bars. It's not necessarily a nice experience, it's actually quite harrowing. You're kind of toured around by former inmates. It's a very sad place to visit, but I do think it's important that people visit these historical places to gain a better perspective on the overall culture in a country like that. On a slightly brighter note, when it comes to Robben Island, there are some stunning views back towards Cape Town and of Table Mountain. Speaking of Table Mountain, that's an absolute must if you're in and around Cape Town. I'd advise going up there towards sunset kind of time. The queues will have completely died down, and as you can see from these images, the experience you'll have when you get to the top is mind-blowing. Take the cable car to the top, have a beer, job's good. Back to the golf. Probably the best thing I did in South Africa, and again this is because I'm a huge golf geek, was the Extreme 19th. Some of you will have heard of it. It's the world's highest par 3, 400 meters above the level of the green the tee is. The green is then 400 meters out from the level of the tee. You're basically hitting off the edge of the cliff. You have to get a helicopter to the tee, helicopter back down. It's a proper bucket list experience for any budding golfer. So there you go guys, South Africa. That is my favourite ever golf holiday destination. And speaking of favourite golf holidays, we want to know which destination you went to, which was your favourite ever golf holiday. Let us know where you went, courses you played, things you saw away from the course, that kind of thing. Hit us up in the comments section, subscribe to the Your Golf Travel channel, and we will see you next week for more Out of Bounds.